Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Heart Podcast. I am your host, Jessica Hope with Cosmic Heart TV. Today we have Maestro Giovani to speak on his experiences with metaphysics, quantum reality, astral travel, and multidimensionality as a whole. Please welcome Giovanni.
How's it going? Yeah, thanks for having me. Um, so there's a whole lot, to this. Of course, as everyone knows, it's like, woo, what a rabbit hole to go down. But so a little bit of my
To
background
say the
starting
least.
off was, I've always been really curious about what things are and what's up with this. So when I turned around 14, a friend of mine had tricked me into going to an event in a funny way, but that's another story. And I ended up, they tricked me into taking LSD. And so that kind of like really opened up this whole idea of what the mind is, what this is, and what our connection to it is. And I realized then that if you could, the more you get to understand yourself and to have more control over your mind and all of that, the more, since it's a fractal, essentially one, that the more that you're in connection with everything and everyone else as well. So like I started having these realizations pretty early on, and I started exploring a lot of meditation and exploration of different things that I'd learned from studying different cultures and listening to what the ancients had to say about a lot of different things and incorporating that into my worldview and seeing through that lens started to cause some pretty interesting effects as the early stages are synchronicities. Of course, you start to see numbers everywhere, 1111, 333,
Right.
all those types of time prompts, number prompts, which starts to get you to pay attention in a certain way and wake up a little bit to when it starts to happen in your face to such a degree to where you're like, there's no way this is possibly, the chances of this. It starts to then shake you eventually to where you're like, okay, okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Right.
I'm actually listening now. Okay, you're speaking through everything at me. It is me trying to talk to myself and get my attention. Essentially, it's all you trying to get your attention, wake you up to your higher state of, you know, consciousness. But then those synchronicities start to increase to even larger proportions to beyond time prompts and starts to take another level beyond that. And then there's what I would like to call stage three, which is where really strange things start to happen with your field around you and just some strange symptoms of reality. Things become more malleable. Now, one thing I really wanted to touch on that's really important in my development was an early practicing of lucid dreaming. And I can't encourage that more to anybody who wants to gain any form of lucidity in life or awareness of self. Is learning and practicing lucid dreaming. A great book is called Exploring Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LeBerge. That's a great resource to get started for anyone listening who hasn't explored that. But once you learn how to lucid dream, then it's kind of something you apply while you're in this world. What you would call what you think you're awake, your wakeful state. That's actually you more awake because that's you without limitations on yourself. This is you in the dream, but to to have that lucidity here, to dream out loud is very powerful. When you understand it to be a dream and you see the world as not so rigid and solid, but more of a malleable light, and start to see the world that way, as an interconnected one, as a fractal, not just talking about it, but to see it that way, to where, you're seeing another person that you don't know as another extension of yourself. Like even that rattlesnake that's right there is just a piece of you. And if you love yourself unconditionally, you exude this. malleable. It's like, you raise the vibration of metal, it becomes more malleable, plastic, more malleable. You raise the vibration around you, things around you become less rigid and more malleable. And you'll start to see that your ability to dream out loud very much affects the reality that you think that you're in, but it's just the reality that you are.
So when you started lucid dreaming, what kind of things did you do to help deepen that understanding that you just explained for yourself that you can recall?
I would do a lot of daily practices of checking the time and paying attention to, even if you know you're not dreaming, getting in a habit of looking around you, analyzing everything in great detail to make everything very vivid, like analyze, counting the number of lights on the ceiling, looking away, looking back, counting them again, things like that, being hyper aware of surroundings on a regular basis, doing these little micro check-ins throughout your day, it carries over into when you're sleeping. You start to ask yourself, wait, am I dreaming? And you realize, wait, I don't have a tiger as a pet, and then all of a sudden you start to become lucid and you can start to do a lot of things with interpersonal work, with inner work, with just exploring your consciousness in general without the use of taking anything externally. It's all in there. So.
Yeah, I remember thank you for sharing all of that. You said that really, really well, actually. I remember there was a dream I had. You reminded me. I was 16 or something in juvenile hall, and because I was a chronic runaway, because I was trying to get away from an abusive situation, and I remember I had this dream over and over and over, and there was this counselor, and he was a really, really big, like teddy bear kind of guy. And I remember he was so conscious and so aware, and he would always come see me specifically, and he knew, I wasn't supposed to be there, but he was trying to help me get my mind to where I needed to get it to, so that I wouldn't be so angry and explosive because of the things that happened to me. And I remember I told him, I was like, keep having this dream, and I can't stop having it every night. I was like dreaming that I would fall off a cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff there was these jagged rocks, and every time I would land on them I would die. And he said, well, he taught me lucid dreaming, and he said, when you start to realize you're in the dream, start looking around. Like, can you turn off and on lights? Can you touch things? Can you be aware that you're in the dream? And eventually I got to the point where I could stop myself before I hit the bottom and turned it into something else. And I realized when he taught me that I had kind of already been doing that since I was a little kid, but I didn't, because of the fear had overrode at the time the ability to do that, to control the outcome or what was happening. And I remember the day that I told him that I was able to change the outcome. And he said, okay, now that you've been able to do that, you can do that in your real life too. And so I remembered that forever, and I've taught my oldest son those things, and my middle son as well. He's 17 now. My oldest son is 20. And yeah, lucid dreaming is extremely powerful, but I really want to emphasize there's several things you said that are incredibly important for people to understand the in-depth lessons and knowledge on. And I encourage everyone to do your research on these things, because if you apply them daily and you live these things every day and you actually practice them, you will actually be able to achieve a form of self-mastery over your what we perceive as physical, like real life reality is in fact an extension of what our soul is dreaming into being in our conscious reality through our consciousness. But that's hard for a lot of people to fully understand because it feels so real.
I wanted, while it's on my mind, I wanted to chime in about this, is that along the process of awakening and going through these things, that as you become more aware and more lucid and more, raise your vibration, and sometimes it can be a really fast blossom of understanding. But I encourage everyone, before really going deep into themselves hardcore about all of it, learn grounding techniques.
Yeah.
Learn grounding techniques, breathing techniques, learning things you can do for grounding. I'm not just talking about, walking around with your feet, bare feet, stuff like that. I'm talking like learn some breathing techniques, even qigong. Those are things that I regret not learning early, because what I found is, and this goes for everyone I know that has gone through this awakening for the most part, to the degree that I have, every single one of them, every single one, because it's a shortcut, has turned into an alcoholic, or a substance user of some form. A lot of us are no longer doing that, but like that's like an initial thing that can. It's like the candy bag that holds the balloon down. When your vibration is reached so hardcore into higher levels, that, and you still want to function as a normal person in regular society. Sometimes people choose the unhealthy route of keeping your vibration lower, as far
I
as
did.
like that. Yeah, it's very common, and
I quit
one way
drinking.
to avoid that is, because as you expand, everything expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. So as if a redwood tree shoots that far into the sky, growing that far, you have to think about how deep the roots have to be to hold something like that up. So if you're just trying to blossom towards the sky and go shoo like that, the
You're gonna
tree's gonna
fly
fall
away.
over. And that also goes with embracing the darkness along with the light, as a totality, as a whole, because you have to, in order to see through the lens, the unity lens. Your enemies are, a lot of us are, you know, have this mindset of them or they. There's no such thing really. There's I, the one, I, right? Then there's me, this
The
guy,
am.
me. And then there's you, which is a further separation. And then there's them. And if you draw that, it's like a triangle. I, one, two, three, four letters, right? I, me, you, them, right? And so that's from the one to the many to me. That's how I look at that.
You
But
see
in that,
this?
you have to basically have
This is
both
the I
all
am.
the time. Yeah.
This is the I am right here.
Mhm.
This is I am in ancient Sumerian. I have I
But
am all over me.
But what I really want people to understand is that, as you're going through this, the darkness will happen. The brighter the light, the more intensely the shadow is. It's cast. So, as long as you treat it like a dance, and that it is in unity as a beautiful piece, a poetic piece of artwork that you get to be a part of as a co-creator with creation, and you see it as a beautiful art piece. And yeah, you need dark lines to contrast the beautiful, bright, shining colors, and you need the dissonance in the song for the resolve to happen. You need these things. So to look at bad things as just bad things and not seeing. Basically, I'm saying see all of yourself as that beautiful light, including all those things you don't like in the world. You don't have to like it to love what purpose it serves as a piece of who you are and what you're learning from it in this spiritual growth that we're all having, with our front row seats to this ridiculous shit show that we're watching in front of us unfold.
So so I'm gonna slow it down because you just touched on really important things, and I've been wanting a moment to bring forth what I've been being given for months and months, well, years, but several months now. My, we'll just say guidance, has been telling me that they would like me to give an extremely important message to the planet at this time, and you just brought it through, and so I'm going to touch on that. So there is a story that was channeled through the Great Serpent. And the great serpent is the two-headed looking serpent that wraps also around the planet, right? It's both the light and the shadow. It's all of creation. So the story that was channeled was there was a man that seeked to understand why evil or negative or dark or all these things that we call these things existed, and what the great serpent came through with in its infinite ancient wisdom. It's been here for all time, is both the light, the beings of light, and the beings that looked scary or evil or dark all had the light that shines within the eye. And when you reflect that back to the one true creator of all of creation, whether it be perceived as scary or dark or whatever, it all has that same octahedron of light in the eyes. And the sentiment is that there is no bad and there is no good. All is from the same source of creation. And when we understand this on a fundamental level, when we break it all the way down, we understand that our higher self understands these things, but our physical form is experiencing the laws of what the land is and the form is that we are existing in as human beings. And so in this human state, we live under the laws of physicality and what this matrix hive mind laws that govern these human existences are. Therefore, the human or the being, the physical being, it sees things as good and bad. You should or shouldn't do those things. This is bad, this is good, this is evil, this is of divine light. And all of those things are relevant. All of those things are true in the physicality. But in the higher self, which is the soul, which is the infinite, and it's going to keep going on to different incarnations beyond this life, and it already is in your multidimensional self, experiencing other life forms. It understands that there is no bad and there is no good. It's never going to align with your physical self that sees something as bad, even the worst shit, the worst possible things that happen on this planet. Your physical self is going to see it as evil. I still see it as that.
There,
But
sorry.
But the higher self understands, and this is when we fully transcend our consciousness into our higher self consciousness understanding. When we understand that there is no bad, there is no good, we can take the things that we don't want and we can look at it like this. And this is what I've come to understand for me. There is what I want and what I don't want. So there are things I don't want. So I usher them out of my reality and I put them to wherever they belong, where they're serving its purpose that they need to serve, and it's away from me, and I focus on what I do want. And when we understand that on a core level of manifesting and creating and being a conscious creator, co-creator of our own reality, we can understand that rape, etc., 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 exists for its own purpose. It can just exist over there for its own purpose, away from me. And when you can break it into what I desire and what I don't desire, then it no longer has power over you, like the physical self holds so much power with fear, with anger, with all the emotions. And that's what I've been shifting into, and it's a deep transformative process. I still get mad. I still get upset. I'm not I haven't perfected it by any means, but I'm learning.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to the belief core structure that the physical personality self has, like a lot of times is out of alignment with what your higher mind is. So not a lot of that light's coming through, but you look at it like blinds. If you can align it exactly to the point to where when you're driving on the highway and it looks like there's a wall there, you turn your head to the left, it's just little slats, but
Yeah.
if you're looking at it from the right angle, you can't see that they're even there at all. So you can align those core beliefs in a sense to where it's like blinds that are perfectly centered to where the light shines all the way through, like as if there's not much of a filter there. And that's something that like when you align with what you were just talking about as far as seeing it all as a whole, but yeah, that can exist over there, but like it all is meant to exist. If it exists, it's here for a reason.
And it's
So,
hard to have honor for things like things that happen to children and stuff like that. It's like, of course you're gonna get it, especially as a parent. But at the same time, those of us who are truly here to master this experience, to be ascended masters, to even be a master spiritually, to whatever degree that you're here to be, we have to we have to understand it, and we have to work on transcending these beliefs, because each one of us that transcends these beliefs and then teaches them and guides humanity in the proper direction, we help evolution as it moves along for the collective consciousness to shift in the right direction. If we can shift away from good, bad, evil, not evil, and break all these religious paradigms down and just see everything for what it all is what it all is part of creation. Nothing's good, nothing's bad. And then teach the brain and the heart how to understand these things, then in time the shift will deepen. It'll happen more in the collective as we all come to understand this.
and when you say in the right direction, you mean like in the direction that would be more in alignment with the creation, the laws of creation versus the type of human experience that we've built for ourselves.
Well,
Okay.
I didn't build it.
Well, no, well,
I did
technically,
help. I did help. I did.
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
on a core level, this is all you having your dream, you
I
know.
get it.
So, yeah, it's your fault too. It's everyone's fault.
Okay.
Everyone's one. It's the one's fault, and you are that. If you heard me say it, you are also the one. So, so it's like, yeah. And that's the thing too,
I
because
you are correct.
the ego construct likes to grab um tries to take on, like and likes to think that it's that you on some level are all powerful, all mighty, all everything, but you're just this lower dense, symbol of yourself that's really it's an extension and you can tap into all the rest of yourself. But when the ego tries to think that it's something, it's quickly usually shown that it's not. The ego is quickly shown,
You get
oftentimes.
booted in the butt.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people learn that as you go up the vibrational ladder, you'll get knocked down. As soon as you start thinking that you've mastered anything, something will
Right.
show you that you still don't know a lot. And one person I have to give credit to for me that really changed my life with this one thing he said to me, this triggered so much, was this man named Sensei Strange, Eric Pearson. He was my mentor. He is my mentor. But he told me the inner world and the outer world are one and the same. Um, there is no such thing as duality. It's all contained here and now. It's all you, bro. And it took me a while for it to sink in. It's all you. Like, it's all one. Just see it that way. And it took me months, and I talked about it for months. And then at one point, after you talk about something and digest it enough to actually like have it click to where it's like locked in, then really, really fun and interesting things start to take off, and it's exciting.
It's interesting that you're bringing this through, but not coincidental. It is exciting. I just had this overwhelming reminder of exactly what you're saying yesterday and today, repeatedly. Been hearing the same thing, and and for me, it isn't even the ego sense, the ego self anymore. It's just my soul itself is like, so it was feeling so tired because it's like I feel like I've been doing this work for so long every single day, and then now it's like hitting a point where I am understanding all of it, and I'm like trying to understand and process and digest why it all had to be the way it did, and did I really need to like keep doing so much all this time, or was it because I had a belief structure that I had to continue to keep doing this work every day, but I really didn't have to exhaust myself the way that I did?
I think you just answered your question there. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, one thing that's really important though is play, is being, playful and maintaining that child spark that we all have inside of play. So we treat work of, this work, oh, I want to do this work, I'm going to get serious on this work, I'm going to get this done, it's going to get done, I'm going to work. And we attribute work a lot of times with things that it's kind of a dredge. It's kind of stuff. It's going to be not that easy. It's work. It's work. That's how a lot of people see it. Make it play. Make it play more if you can in life. Play as much as you can, and like dancing, whatever it is that you express yourself in any manner. This goes out to everybody because this clears your plumbing for that light to come through. Because the more and more that you open and explore, and like, I'm singing over here, I'm dancing over there, I'm busting freestyles over here. I'm gonna paint now, and I'm gonna play on the piano. Whatever it is that you get out for you to express yourself, that is you letting that light, that excitement, that energy that supercharges you to come through, and you're not going to be as tired, you're not going to feel like it's been a lot of work. It's going to be like that was a blast, and it's not going to seem like a lot of work.
Thank you for that reminder.
No,
For me too.
no. Yeah, same half the time that I'm mentioning things, it's only a reminder to myself. So
I've been working for so long, I couldn't even tell you when it started or when I ever took a break.
you ever done a float tank?
No, I had an opportunity a long time ago, but the guy was a weirdo.
Yeah, I encourage you to try that out sometime. I think that you would really really love that.
I know I would. I know I can feel how deeply healing it would be. It would have it would have been great.
Yeah, no, I still would. You should go for that because it's an experience.
Okay.
That yeah, like I without the use of, I don't know, it puts you in a state that's really powerful. It's kind of like a somnambulant state of being like I was able to be multiple places at once, and
Yeah,
and
the water connected you.
yeah, it was just like I was everywhere. It was great, but
It's, water is so much more powerful than people realize. Do you feel through everything that you just said, that you've shared, and if enough of us can collectively understand that this experience is just truly an extension of and a collective hive mind of all of our own individual experiences of our consciousness playing out, but in a collective format, if we can all, and I know you know this, but I also am asking you what your soul says. Do you feel like if enough of us collectively manifest that things will shift for the better, that things will go in a more positive direction than they have been?
1000%. Like it's actually doesn't take as many people as you would think because if you think about integrative energy versus segregative energy, it's you take it doesn't do anything by itself. You put two flames together, it's twice as high. Integrative energy is much more powerful than segregative energy. So even like 200,000 people that understands truly like the things that that I'm talking about unity consciousness and that lens of seeing the world that way. If people really do see it that way, just that alone will change the way that people behave in general, without them doing anything else, let alone them doing, more, but just that understanding will change a lot.
What about sending? Thank you for that. What about sending? What comes to me is like sending unconditional universal love and pure light to all of the people in positions of power. Instead of sending like curses and hexes and all the things, what about just sending genuine, unconditional divine light and divine love and healing?
I think that would, I don't see why. I think that would be great,
What do you
honestly.
see in that? Like with
I would
your,
see, I could see that going a variety of different ways, but overall, I think that'd be great. Um,
do
it
you
would
feel
be a,
like it would, what would the contrasting thing be if it wasn't good?
I could see, there's some real sociopathic minds that are so overpowered and so hardwired in a certain way that no matter how much love you give that person or thing, they're going to remain serving their function as what that is.
I've seen
And
that happen
and and
firsthand.
and, that, and that's just gonna, and then that can exhaust those giving the light and the love. But that's it's not like it's not worth a try. Why not? Why not spread more love, even into the darkest crevices of where the sun doesn't shine? Why not? I don't
Right.
see a reason why not. So I don't see what bad would happen from doing anything. I don't see anything bad that would happen from that.
Because I see the same and I hear my son's words, my 20-year-old son, Gabriel. He's very ancient. And he said to me recently when he was channeling, we were having a video chat, and he said, Mom, because I was talking about my ex-husband, and I said, I didn't say anything like bad about him, but I started to express something I was upset about. He said, Mom, and he very seriously looked me in my eyes. He said, don't ever wish anything bad on anyone because it'll come back to you. And I felt his soul, and I understood and recognized it was truth, and I needed to remember. And so I said, okay, thank you for reminding me. And that's the thing is, I know all of the witches and all the people are doing all these things, but the thing is I get it, but at the same time, I feel in my higher self and my counseled guidance that we need to send love. We really need to send love into the situations, into the outcomes, into the people of positions of power. We need to send love. And I don't mean send your personal energy. I mean those who know how to do healing properly and channel divine light, universal chi, universal love through their body as a vessel, send it in. Call on the angels, call on everybody that is here overseeing the planet, doing the work with us. Call on every level of assistance that we can and send the pure light and pure love into the situation and into the people. I feel like that has the highest potential of us coming together as the light warriors that we are and creating a collective higher good outcome versus any other course of action.
I feel like that's right about to happen due to all of the conflicts that are happening currently right now. If you look at the history of things, typically right after that, the counterculture of the youth wants to fling the opposite direction and go into love and light and not war and fighting and getting away from all that. Like, and then the cycle kind of repeats itself so far. But so far, I said. But
I feel like a lot of people think they're ready for war because they're angry, but I feel like most of them aren't.
well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people think a lot of things in their head, but that severely contradicts, conflicts. I mean, with reality that you're faced with like constantly.
Right, because those same people, if they were actually out there and their life was on the line and they realize in that moment that they're gonna die
I
and
mean,
it's not really worth it.
you can ask almost anybody who's listening right now, did you think you'd be where you are right now at this point in your life? Do you? Did is that what you thought? Because were you right? Were you? Because I'm pretty sure a few things were different in reality than what you thought in your head. And I'm pretty sure it was a lot of things. So I'm just saying that's pretty much everyone, everywhere. What's in here, you can come up with so much stuff all day long. But what actually goes on is its own story. We tell ourselves
Agreed.
stories in our head, but
Do you have
we
someone that's waiting to come in?
I it seemed like it, but I'm not too sure. Probably here in a little bit. I
Okay.
probably should wrap up, um, but yeah, no, I have some more time. Like if I get another knock, I'll let you
Okay.
know.
So there was something that you, on that note, while I have you on, there was something that you had explained that you were able to see things in a more multidimensional sense. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to share your experience of what that looks like because I'm always curious on what other people see when you see things in a multidimensional level.
Hmm. Well, it depends where to start there. Um, Let me think about how to put this.
That's
So
fine.
after taking my consciousness to some pretty extreme places, I would say that this is it's still beyond words sometimes to try to
I know.
translate it
Trust me, I
down,
get
trying to
it.
translate it down. Um,
Most of when I speak comes from my higher self and it's not in English.
yeah. Um, so to see things when you're connected on that level, you perceive things from multiple places at a time. That's not just one timeline, and you're able to perceive things from multiple timelines simultaneously.
Right.
Like when you're looking at someone, they might look like Shiva or something because you're seeing a timeline of them acknowledging the person walking past them and looking up from their phone. You can see them looking at their phone still, and you see them waving hi to their friend over there, all simultaneously, and it's the same individual, and you're seeing multiple timelines simultaneously existing, and that's once you've kind of existed in that space and been to some other places like this. That's another story for another day, the mirror room. um Coming back to this like really compressed, this very compressed dense level of where everything seems very linear, but it basically once you know all that stuff and you've been to those points, then a strange level of contentment sets in that can, in my personal opinion, be somewhat dangerous for the um what's the word, sometimes the motivation of the ego to have this urge to even share some of this stuff because it doesn't really matter in the end. In the end, it's all just dust in the wind, essentially. When I say dust in the wind, it's all simultaneously everything it will ever be
And nothing at the same
and
time.
nothing at the same time. And nothing, and you like to think how important you are or how important we are, like we're just little pixels, like, which is the entire thing itself. It's
Yeah.
so this level of contentment sets in where now that I've seen everything like that, I'm enjoying thoroughly what is mortality.
Right.
Like as an experience, as a rich experience, and I had many chances to transcend this, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it here. It's
I
weird.
decided that too.
I like it. But yeah, as far as trying to, there's a guy I know. We call him Tesseract because he is so great at. Me and him were exploring consciousness eye to eye level as we were moving up the ladder, discussing everything we were discovering with each other, and his realizations. Basically, he was helping me put the pieces together, and we both ended up having this moment where we linked up on a spiritual level. So just like these two fingers end up reading a central point here, we ended up becoming physical mirrors to each other, where every thought that I was having simultaneously was coming out of his mouth, and every thought that he was having was simultaneously coming out of my mouth, and all of our gestures became mirrored, and we became a mirror for like 20 minutes, and it was like, oh my God, nobody, I was, no, we couldn't even finish a sentence because he was saying the same thing at the same time, and we were like, dude, that's really messed up. That's really crazy. But we connected on this node because we've both been to this mirror room where we got pulled into this room of mirrors. And I know that sounds wild, but I've met three people that have
No.
been. I mean, it sounds wild to a lot of people, but it exists. It's so weird to say. But anyways,
So where do you think you were? Like in a subspace, like just
it's
above this
it's
reality?
it's like a template level, like kind of like a template level where it's yeah, it's like a template level where all of a sudden you're exactly where you were before. All the people that were in that environment are completely gone. All the structures are still there. All of a sudden you look over, you see you appear in front of you doing something at one point in your life. You see another you appear at different yous at different points in your life. And anything you think of like a template can manifest. So you think of like a Ferris wheel, there it is. By the time, it's like this template level, like a dream plane that has nothing impressed upon it. And it's just reflecting back to you whatever it is that your consciousness. That's like the only way I'm able to really put it right now is it feels like that. And I thought that I was just like that it was just an experience that I was having. I knew it was divine because of what happened to me. It was so far, it made this look like this is so not real compared to how real that was. So, like, after coming back from that, that opened me up and unlocked so much within me that everywhere I went, people could feel me from like 9 feet away, being like, dude, you're, I was affecting a lot of, it was a big energetic shift in my being going to that space. But
You
coming
couldn't
back
argue with
here,
it anymore.
I could not, it'd be impossible for me to deny what I know now. I can die right now, wouldn't matter at all because I know I wouldn't be gone. It's a beautiful, beautiful dream that we're all having, and it's exciting to exist. Because if you exist now, you exist always, and that's great because it's fun.
Thank you. Thank you, honestly, for sharing that. I'm curious about two things that came to me that I want to ask you about.
That you know who you are, and a lot of times you will also be in disbelief of who you might be or who you are, to yourself here sometimes. But even the you who you've done the digging to find out who you are, that's still just another layer because it's like those Russian dolls with there's more layers like an
The
onion.
nesting dolls.
It's like once even if you think you know who you are, that is still evolving and it's still always gonna be something new. So it's
Even
never,
now.
even now. So
I
you
used
gotta
to be
remember that.
obsessed with those. My grandma had some, and I would play with those all the time. The nesting dolls.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, I feel like we all have to remember too that we are always searching, and our physical self is always searching for an identity to cling to understand who we are and what we are in our being, because having an identity of self gives us some sort of purpose or mission or reason for why we're doing X, Y, and Z that we're doing anyway. And I feel like for some people, it really is important to have that identity because it gives them a sense of purpose. And for me, it did give me a sense of purpose for a really long time to learn all the incarnations I've had and the important roles I've had and the important role I have now and all the things. But ultimately, when we kind of really break it all down, I feel like it's most important, and this is my higher self opinion, it's most important to just be love and remember that we're all a part of creation, and to just do the best we can in every moment to be the best version of ourselves and try to love as many people as we can, and remember that we're all just walking each other home at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention, like, it's very common for when people start to awaken and start to understand and see through that lens, they want to share that. They want to share it with everyone around them. They want to talk about it. They want to let people know, like, dude, this is amazing because it is. It's incredible. And, dude, are you not seeing this? Are you not aware of what the heck, you know, trying to wake up those around you? And sometimes that can be great. But it has to come at a pace, because you can end up coming, if you're not good at explaining yourself or explaining it, you can come off like a hippy dippy kook to somebody trying to explain metaphysics. Somebody can not understand what you're trying to get at. So trying to figure out how to put it in their terms, but also sometimes it can cause the opposite effect, where they go even deeper into being asleep because they want to run from what's overwhelming to them. It can be overwhelming when you shake someone's core belief structure, when you shake someone's total, like, everything they've built their reality on, and you shake it a little bit, their foundation. They sometimes want to run the opposite way, even though you're just trying to be like, hey, let me help you control the dream you're having. I know it's a nightmare for you right now. It sure seems like you're having a hard time. Let me tell you how to fix it. And they're like, and they freak out because it's a lot going on, a lot of change too fast. And
Right.
I've witnessed that. And also too, when realizing all these things and coming to these conclusions, it it's a lot, to compress into serial communication. It's a lot to try to express with this form of the how we talk to each other. It's a lot to be said. It's so much that it takes books upon books, and it's like, you want people be long-winded, try to tell you everything at once. I try to sum it up for people, you know. I
Breaking
try
and
to.
dismantling people's entire belief systems is already dangerous for them because it can break their psyche as well.
Yeah, exactly. So when people want information, and if you feel that someone is in need of or seeking that type of information, that's when I feel that it's appropriate to share what I know now. Back when I was first gaining this level of awareness and going through all that, I was just like a beam of, like a sun just beaming out, like, all this stuff and information, and trying to take everybody with me on that journey, on that path of understanding. And I, you know, some are ready for it, some aren't. And sometimes it's best to just stay quiet and be humble, and surprise somebody when they need that information. Oh, well, oh, how come you never told me you knew about all that? Well, you never asked. But also, it's not my job to take over anyone's path or to try to sway their path. You know, I I to be a catalyst is one thing, but I don't want to be someone who thinks I need to control where someone's path is going. But do I want to be a teacher and assist them and go in the direction that, if it's something I can assist them with, I want to be there to help them out.
That's where discernment, and this is just for everybody listening, that's where discernment is so crucial, and learning discernment and understanding how to listen to your higher self on when it's appropriate to tell someone something and when it isn't. Because when you get the no, even though you really want to say it. If you're getting a no, you really shouldn't say it, because swaying someone's path in a certain direction just because you want them to know something, but you're being told not to do it, can create a ripple effect back onto you as well that you're not going to want to happen.
And I've also noticed when I am doing that, what my ego wants for them to know, it's not really what's being directed towards them, but it's what my ego wants to direct towards them. That usually causes an interesting thing to happen where the phone will be call failed, or like right when I'm about to tell them the most important thing, that's like the most intense bomb of information to like completely blow their mind. It's
Right.
like all of a sudden phone dies or something like that, and I'm like, oh, thank God, something saved me from that. Or like talking too much about many things, you know.
Right.
Sometimes you get
So
saved
many times.
by it's like, hey, not yet, dude, stop, just shut your mouth. Okay, okay. Oh, I'm listening. I'm listening. Okay, shut up. All right, I'm gonna shut your phone off. No phone for you. You think about that, because you'll get those nudges. You'll get the nudge. It's a no. You'll also get the nudge. It's like go for it. You know, you'll even get the nudge telling a stranger stuff that you're like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but and you'll be channeling to a stranger out of nowhere. Like, dude, how did you know that? I was nudged to tell you those things. You get the nudges all the time, but you also will get that thing where it's like, hey, maybe you should hold back. You should listen to that. Everybody listen to that.
This phone is a prime example. I paid for this phone, fully paid off, okay, with cash. And I kept getting the guidance from my guides to switch to my old phone. And that's an Android. My old phone's an iPhone. I kept being told, switch your SIM card to that phone because it's going to give you better video quality and you'll be able to work from it and you won't keep having the low storage issue that one was causing me. So it was like a few days went by, and then all of a sudden I kept getting the message louder and more often. I dropped that phone once, and I heard, switch your SIM card to your old phone. I didn't. And the same night I was talking on the phone, I put it on the arm of the couch, and I just happened to bump it with my hand, and it hit just on the right angle of the phone and totally black screened. And now everything on that phone that I had is just there with a black screen. I don't know how to access all of it, but it's gone
Yeah.
because I didn't listen.
hmm I've actually, like I was telling you before, like I've saved a bunch of people's lives physically because I listened to that thing I didn't want to do. It's like, go to the creek now. You're like, I don't want to go. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm tired of going to sleep. Go to the creek now. No, not going. Bedtime. Go to the creek now. You're like, oh, dude, it's so far. I guess I'm going to the creek now. And then I go and then save somebody from cardiac arrest. It's like this is one of nine things. And so now when it nudges me to do something, I have to because someone's life might be online. I don't know why I need to go downtown right now. It's like you need to go downtown right now. I'm like, I don't feel like it, dude. Parking, all that, go to downtown right now. I'd go downtown and I'd end up like being like a hand of, because I'm not the one, I'm being puppeted around, but I'm listening.
That's
And
what happened to me right after Christmas. Sorry. I
yeah,
didn't
no,
mean to
that's
cut you
that's
off.
pretty much no, that's pretty much it. Just like, listen to those things. It's like there's been so many times where I could have been seriously injured or killed if I hadn't have listened to that one nudge. You need to go down to the bottom of the hill right now. And then if I hadn't have, anyways,
Listen to it.
yeah, it's like it's all of it. So listen to all of it, not just the little part you have right here. If you're in connection with everything else, listen.
Right after Christmas, this happened to me. Weird, I mean, not weird, but things like this have happened throughout my life too. But the most recent one was right after Christmas. I I didn't know why. I just kept not going. I got these gift certificates for the kids to get new shoes, and I was just like, we gotta go. We just gotta go today. And I kept not being able to leave the house, and all this stuff was happening. And I was like, I don't know why I just can't leave yet, but we gotta go today. We have to go. I was like getting the kids up, my teenage my 17-year-old son, he was just not feeling like going. And I was like, Kai, we need to go right now. And so finally we got up, we left, and I have to use a walker till I get my body stronger. It's a wheelchair, but it has handles. I use it as a walker. And I take a left and I go around the block, which is like not how I usually go downtown. And I go around, and as I'm coming around the other side of the block, I see this guy laying on the ground. And I'm like, obviously, like, what's going on? And I tell the kids, like, stay next to the store and just turn that way. And there's two older ladies and they're trying to help him. They can't pick him up. He's a big guy. I see this Mexican guy, he barely speaks English, and I'm telling him to come over and help me pick him up. So I'm literally put my fucking wheelchair to the side, have some superhuman strength come through, and I hook one arm under his arm and one armpit and one arm under his leg, and we carry him to the sidewalk and lay him down. And the older ladies tell me he was having a seizure. So we call on, we get help, and I feel just pure, powerful light pouring through me into him and bringing him back to consciousness. And so I call on angelic support. You know, I do all the things. All of a sudden, he takes this really big breath, and he's like, and then like looks around like, what the fuck? And I'm like, you're okay, dude. Everything's okay, you know. And I start calming him down, and I just keep channeling light into him, and you could literally see his eyes like come back to life. And the police get there, EMTs get there. I tell them what's happening. We finish going to the shoe store, get them shoes. We walk to the CVS, and which is the second stop we were going to do. No, it was just before Christmas because they were buying Christmas presents. That's right. And the lady at the check stand goes, "Thank you so much for being there. Oh my God, I felt so much relief when I saw you." And I was like, "Wait, what?" She's all, "The guy." And I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even recognize you." And she was like, "I can't tell you how much relief I felt when you showed up and you said that you're a nurse and that you could help." And I was just like, yeah, it was crazy. I told her the line of event or the series of events that happened. She then tells me she could not find her keys anywhere at all. Like, no matter where she looked, she couldn't find her keys. She was going to be late. She was pissed off. She was like, I literally just need to go to work. And so she finally looks in her dirty clothes, finds the keys, gets there, and is on the way there and sees the guy. And she was like, I knew in that moment, it was like God put me there so I could help that man. And all day long, everything was impossible for me to go until that exact moment. But then the loud, like, booming voice was like, go now. And I knew it was for him. It's stuff like that, though, all throughout my life, where, yeah, it's like if enough things happen, you start to just learn to listen. That's why when I tell people, I'm like, trust me, I don't really want to say this right now at all, but I've learned to listen so I don't get kicked in the ass.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I wanted to tell you it's so weird today, and interesting that like the amount of synchronicities that happened to me before we got on call was ridiculous. Like I had so many things happen today that are so insane that like here's one example. I was talking about synchronicities to a friend when I was playing Call of Duty. I was just playing Call of Duty, right? And I played that game for like 5 years off and on, but like there's this really rare chance when you throw a tomahawk and someone else throws a tomahawk, there's an extremely rare chance that they'll hit each other and bounce off. I've seen it like 5 or 6 times in 5 years happen, and it happened 3 times in a row right before I got on here, and it was just the chances of that are so ridiculous. But before that, it was I was getting like tons of time prompts, number prompts. The think of somebody, phone ring, is them. Like right before us connecting here, I just wanted to before we wrap up, I wanted to tell you that before I forgot. It was super interesting to me. I was like, wow,
That was your sign
three in a
to make
row,
sure you
three in a
didn't
row.
back out.
I wasn't gonna back out. I wasn't gonna back out. Um, but But yeah, I do need to wrap up. I've got to figure out that thing for
Absolutely.
tomorrow. But would love to, you know, join you again and talk about. There's a few other things we'll talk about later. See if you want to cover those topics. But there's a few things I think that would be a good part two to this.
I would love to. Thank you so much for sharing everything you did today, and I want to also thank the guidance from your side and mine, just because I know they're very much helping in this process of bringing the right things forward. And I'm really called to say, for those who feel conflicted or confused on, well, if this is, all a dream state or an extension of my consciousness, or none of this really matters, why is it important for me to do anything anyway? And to that, I would just say, why not? Why
Yeah.
not take a chance on doing things with the love that we're all created with, to have some sort of positive effect and change while we're here? If it's on your heart to do it anyway. Do it scared, do it sad, do it whatever you're feeling. Because for me personally, and this is just me, at the end of this experience, I really deeply need to be able to look back and say, I did everything I came here to do.
Right. And it's you're doing it because you're trying to create the dream that you want to have, you know. Let's create this beautiful dream together, and we all can, as co-creators, create a beautiful dream together instead of everyone having nightmares left and right. You know, we can have a nice conscious intentional dream, you know.
I would much
Live.
rather prefer that than people experiencing people's personal hell.
Right, exactly. And that's something that we're on the path towards, I think. It's what it feels like. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and awareness. I feel awareness is really, really key.
Yeah.
The more collectively everyone is aware of reality and how to shift it better, the more we can do that together, individually and collectively. Because it's the whole thing, you do the best you can with what you have until you know more, and then you can do better.
And another thing, if anyone wants to look up this stuff, a great resource for assistance in understanding these concepts would be Bashar, to look up Bashar Core Concepts, Bashar Core Concepts, and read over that. It really kind of is the most concisely broken down, simply basically a manual to understanding these things. And if you digest
Bashar's
that
awesome.
stuff, if you digest that stuff and kind of wrap your head around those things, it'll really help you a lot. It's been very beneficial to a lot of the people around me to because
It's a
of
great.
the way that it's put, you know, in such a easy to understand way to
I'll
it's
have
just
to look into
put
that
together
too.
well. But yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to talking to you soon. So,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your night.
you too. All right.
Bye, everybody. See you
Bye.
later.
See ya.